No, I just drew a blank.
Thank you, Will.
Ray. Thanks, Ray.
Oh, look at that. We're
I'll see
live.
you soon.
How you guys doing? Oh, we got some people in the shop. It's a little bit loud. But hey,
All right.
we're getting there. We're starting.
Hey, Kevin, how's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right.
Oh, you're looking all kinds of crazy up there.
I look crazy every day.
Yes.
It's part of my routine.
Yes, you do.
I like to think I do. Will, how you doing over there, buddy?
Hey, there we go. Look at that. You're looking pretty good up there now.
I don't know why that camera does that.
I don't know.
That's all right.
I'm wondering if it's a cable.
There it is. See, look there. I look pretty now. I'm pretty good. Thank you, sir.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yes, I'm very pretty.
All right, show me Will.
Somebody has to be.
Hey, guys.
All right.
You guys need cigars?
That's Mom and Dad.
That's Kevin's mom.
Oh.
We came just to watch.
All right.
Oh, nice.
All right. All right. Ooh.
How's life in Montreal?
I have nothing for Will.
Oh.
I don't know if the camera's on. Or
It's yes. No.
maybe.
Yes.
It looked like it was on.
I thought I left it on. I might not have.
Did-
There we go.
Is the battery dead? Almost?
No, they're all charged.
Oh.
I charged every battery multiple times.
That's just what you're saying.
No, I swear. I promised I was charged all of them.
You're
It
like,
should be
I
good.
put them in the box, but I don't know if that's the case.
Sounds
There we
good.
go.
All right. Perfect.
All right, show me.
Yep.
I think I
Oh,
look
I
pretty
see.
good. I
I
think
see
that's
why
what we were
there's a
doing.
lag.
All right.
So yeah,
Well, we got everybody in here. We got some. Did your brother comp in yet there, Kev? I didn't see him talking yet.
and I haven't seen him in yet. It
Okay.
says we have one viewer, which could be you, because I'm not even signed in yet.
I'm in, and I know that Will is on there too, so he's ready
yeah,
to
you
answer
said that
questions.
up.
You signed me in?
Yes, you're all
Oh,
good to
okay.
go, Will. All right. Well, welcome to the
Nice.
Daily Torch. How is everyone? How you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah?
I mean, yeah, given, yeah, I'm doing well.
Well, that's all we can ask, man. That's all we can ask. Kevin, how you doing over there, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting all set up.
All right,
well,
we-
finished set up, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, no, I know. We're
Today-
we're a little rushed today, and I apologize. That's my fault. I take full responsibility.
I feel like it's my fault.
I feel like it's all of us.
It's totally my fault. I was here. I take responsibility. So,
Wait, hold on. Put it on me real fast, because I'm going to do a thing.
Yes.
all
You're
right.
going to do a thing.
I'm going to do a thing. All right, where's my camera? There's my camera.
Yes.
All right.
Glad you figured it out.
If you drive in the mountains and the roads are dry, and you are below the speed limit, and you do not use turnouts to let traffic by, I need you to do a thing. You're going to stand up, you're going to walk outside, and you're going to start a game of hide and go fuck yourself. All right.
So you had fun driving, is what you're saying?
Yes,
He always
30.
has fun.
30 and a 45 on bone dry roads.
Were you on 28?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yeah.
This side of incline?
Now, mind you, I was not the first, the second, the third, or the fourth car behind this car.
Oh, really?
And there was at least 10 behind me.
Oh, so you were in a speed train.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That sounds wonderful.
So you know what I'm always tempted to do, and we used to do it when I was riding. Is we had this guy, and I would zip around, and I would stop. I mean, come to a full stop, and that guy would come to a full stop also, and then all of a sudden, bang, 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 all the other bikes went screaming by, and it was like, because there was no way to get around him with the turns. And so, a couple of times I'd just stop in the middle of the road, and fortunately the guy didn't try to go around me, and the other bikes would just go by, and we would have 8-10 bikes at a time.
wow.
Yeah, it's not like 3 or 4. It was
It was a decent group.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's always fun.
when was that?
When was that?
Yeah, like what day and age? It says 80s Will, 90s Will, early 2000s.
Well, this was you had your road glide, right?
Yeah, I had my road glide.
Yeah, the road glide days. You missed that thing, don't you?
I did. Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking about it the other day. I think it was early 2000s. Oh yeah, it had to be because it was the 2003 anniversary edition.
Oh, nice.
So it was 0304 ish to God. I rode till I used to ride before that. So anyway, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, fair.
Wow, that's fun. That's fun. I've had a fun day.
Yeah.
Oh
you?
yeah.
What'd
oh,
you do?
I worked.
They do. What is happening in the parking lot right now?
So we are in the middle of day 2 of a reggae festival
Is that what it is?
They tried to tell me the lot was full when I came in.
Yes, there are
told me that too.
parking spaces in the lot, but it says it's full. It's been a kooky crowd.
I imagine.
Yeah, it's been a kooky crowd. I started the day off kicking somebody out.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Good one?
Right
Tell
off
me.
the bat?
Yeah. So this guy, he walks in. He had just been cut off. I learned from Charlie already. So he was already deep.
So-
And I was, I was here like 4:40. Like I'm like, that's early to be that deep on
Yeah.
a Sunday with no football.
Well, yes and no. It is a holiday weekend.
True. But so he walks in.
He probably rolled from last night into today.
I think he did. He walks in, and automatically he's just disrespectful.
Do
And
we
I-
get details, or is it just disrespectful? Can you even tell on camera what happened?
There were a lot of colorful metaphors
Okay.
about my character
Really?
because he was mumbling to himself when I was trying to ask him questions, and then he just went, well, you can go fuck yourself.
Oh, what's that?
And I was like, oh, well, that's not gonna fly.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he walks in the humidor, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you got to go. Like, we're not doing this." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm all, "You were disrespectful, dude. Like, I'm not gonna sell to you. Like, like maybe go get a water or something,
Right.
But you're not gonna be." And he goes, "Fuck you." And I'm like, "Oh, here we go." Really, Lana, I wish you were here for this. He walks out, stands in the middle of the room, and he goes, "Honestly, that's just a you problem." And I was like, no, being disrespectful is a you problem. I was like, now if you, just have a nice day, sir. Like, don't forget your drink and have a nice day. Then he pulls out his wad of money. He goes, I have money.
Okay.
And he threw a $20 bill at me.
Nice.
And I picked it up and I handed it back to him. And I'm like, here you go, sir. You dropped this. He then walks past me, right? Goes in the humidor and grabs like 3 cigars and walks out.
Just walks out.
Just walked out. So I called security.
Oh, absolutely.
And I said, security, this guy just stole from me. Security rushed down, grabs this dude. At this point now, he walks back up with his chest pumped up like he's going to do something. And he goes, I paid for these. And security's like, no, you didn't. And they're like, clearly the guy asked you to leave. He walks in again.
He's
okay.
still not detained.
Still not detained. Walks in, steals a lighter, and then walks back out. And security's like, what the fuck is going on? They're like, they don't even know what to do. But then the security supervisor comes by. He goes, look, man, if you don't give the cigars back and you don't walk away, I'm just going to arrest you and you can go to jail and spend the jail like three nights in jail. And then finally he like apologized. And then they were like, you need to go. You're cut off.
Yeah.
And that was the start of my day. After that, I've had fantastic people the rest of the time. But the first guy of the day was like, wow.
Well, you got it out of the way early.
Yeah, exactly. And I had no problems. The rest of the week, I had no problems. Like, this crowd's been super friendly. They've been, trying to bum cigarettes and smoke weed in the bathroom. But other than that, they've been super friendly. They've been really nice people.
So this guy was from the...
I don't know where he was from. We didn't get that far. He was too inebriated to have a conversation with.
right.
So
Or want to have a conversation with.
yeah. But, so that was my day. It was fun. It was exciting. I'm glad I got out of the way. Lane, how was your day?
My day's good. My whole week's been good.
Yeah?
It's been long.
Well,
I mean, I've worked
yeah.
a lot of hours at the new job. But it's cool. Everyone up there's really nice. Like, it's a good spot. It's been all right.
And is this a fancy restaurant? I meant to ask you this.
What type
I would call it elevated pub food.
Oh, okay, cool.
Elevated
So no, like,
Yeah, like pub food from a celebrity chef is what I would call
that
it.
sounds kind of fun. Actually,
It's good.
I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah.
what kind of chef is it? Just all around?
No, I mean he's one of the first. He's literally one of the first celebrity chefs. He doesn't work there.
Oh.
Okay.
He licenses it out, but it's a good spot.
So it's like a Wolfgang Pucks.
Sort of
Oh, okay.
different chef, different style, but yeah,
Okay, cool. I miss Wolfgang Pucks. That was a cool restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly well known.
reasonably well known.
How about just in the region?
Yeah, I mean it's not really regional. It depends on the places you frequent.
Okay.
Oh, that's fair.
If you go to the right places, you're going to know exactly who he is. If you don't go to the right places, you probably have no idea who he is.
Oh, this is a good restaurant to watch Formula One in.
That's what it sounds like.
You would feel right at home.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. I'm coming down to watch some yacht racing. You let me know when it's on.
Yeah,
'cause
and the
I'm-
chefs that do work there are talented. It's a good spot.
Nice.
I was
like
happy with it.
Nice. I have
And
to come try it.
Yeah. Come up sometime.
Yeah.
Anyway, but other than that, a lot of hours just getting started. I haven't smoked a cigar since last Sunday, since last podcast.
No, you needed a break.
Yeah, I
That
did.
means your palate will be fresh.
Yeah, I got bad news for you though.
What's that?
This is still a 76.
How dare you? How dare you disrespect the good name of the Casa Cuba Florafina? With a straight face, no let. It doesn't get like 78. Like you won't give it 2 points.
I'll give it a. You know what? Honestly, the flavor's worse than it was last week, but the burn is better.
It feels
So-
like
so
he wants
balance
to.
it
do-
out.
I'll give you a 78.
Oh,
it's
is
not
this-
getting
All
an
right,
80.
all right, I'll
yeah,
go
yeah.
with
This
78.
is last week's cigar.
Yeah, the Casa Florafina.
Because I'd smoked like 9 cigars by the time I got to it last week.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's not an 80.
How dare you?
It's not an 80.
How dare
I
you?
don't know what to tell you.
I'm disappointed in your palate right now.
I know. I can
I'll,
tell.
I'll get over it. It's fine.
I will say I do have like that rye, which I really liked when I'd smoked too many cigars. I'm starting to get that hydrogen peroxide note that I get from ryes out of it tonight.
Uh-oh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All
I haven't
right.
been drinking any bourbon either. I've had maybe 2 fingers in the last 5 days.
Don't you usually have a nightcap?
Yeah, but when you get home at 11 and you have to be up at 6,
Oh, yeah, that kind of cuts into
like how
nighttime
much time do you have
Yeah.
for a night? It's like half a shot.
Yeah.
You
Like-
slam it down and just go to bed.
No, I mean, it's literally like I pour half a shot while I'm drinking it while I set up my clothes and stuff for the next morning.
Okay.
And then, because the commute, and I don't have another manager right now, so.
Oh yeah, you're way out there.
Oh, do you get to hire it?
Yeah, I've
Hire
got
the
2
person?
coming, I think.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
So how about your workouts?
I got 2 in this week. I'm actually, tomorrow, I found a cheap spin bike, an old spin bike in Reno for like $75 so I can get up and pedal in the mornings for 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, nice.
Or I can pedal when I get home and go to the gym in the mornings. I have enough time. The problem is the gym's hours are so limited that I don't have any chance to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's
Oh,
closed by the time I get home. It doesn't open, depending on the day, what day it is. It doesn't open in time for me to get in a full workout, and then go home and shower and still get up there in time.
So what time is the restaurant open?
11:30.
Oh,
Oh,
so-
nice.
But,
Okay.
you,
11:30 to 8.
but you need to be there.
Yeah, because it's a full mountain operation, right? So you're going through like the previous day's business meetings, and you've got a bunch of other stuff that you have to do before the restaurant opens.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay.
And I've been shadowing their stand-in manager who's leaving next week. So I also have shadow hours that I wouldn't necessarily be there for if he wasn't there, but it's part of the deal. So,
Got it.
So,
okay.
So
but no,
in
it's
other
good.
wor-
I'm really happy with it.
So you're going to have some relief on your time frame or logistics,
I will eventually. I don't know when.
right?
Are they going to give you any free reign for what you want to bring in and stuff?
Ish. I mean, a lot of it's programmed because it's Celebrity Chef.
Got it.
I'll have some leeway for the extras, especially for the back bar. Like as long as their back bar is programmed, if I have room, I can add some stuff and play around a little bit.
Like booze wise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Their cocktail menus come from this. So this chef has a VP of mixology who does all of his cocktail menus at all of his restaurants.
Oh, that's a job right there.
Right.
VP of mixology. What a terrible sounding job that must be. What do you do? I make cocktails all
Yeah.
day.
That's pretty much my job.
Yeah, that's my job.
What do you guys got going on? I mean, I haven't seen any of you in like a week.
Yeah, it's
I
been
know,
a while.
I know.
I've
Yeah.
been thinking about you, wondering how the whole thing's been going. So I know now I've been informed, and you can go away for another week.
It was raining when I drove back tonight. That was disappointing because I was hoping to get a powder day tomorrow.
It's early.
You know
it's
what?
early.
It might
you
be
might
up at the
you might
top.
get about 3 inches tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they were talking about 20.
Yeah, no,
It's already fizzling.
yeah.
So disappointing.
That's,
It-
that's not good.
It's been late on arrival, like all the other storms.
Yes, and it's still it was 40 at the top of the summit that I had to come over.
Oh, was
Oh,
it?
wow. Okay.
It was not cold.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, but how high? That was only 7,000, right?
Yeah, but 40
7,500?
degrees. 40 degrees at 7,200 feet or whatever.
I forgot to look at my email that tells me what it's going to be up on the mountain.
Well, they pushed it. Like this storm was supposed to start at 7, didn't start until like 10.
Yeah.
So it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Here's what it is.
Or is it? Wait a minute. Anyway,
Anyway, I don't know what our topics are. I've had no chance to look at them. That's why Casey picked them this week.
Yes, I picked
Yes.
them.
you should have some notes in front of you.
I do see the notes.
Yes, there are really they're notes with just questions that I threw together. And you weren't here for it, but I did apologize. It wasn't as
Oh,
put
here.
together.
Let me help. Senate passes huge multi-billion-dollar aid package. Dead in Congress.
Yes.
Not even going to make it to the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so this is the thing. I saw the Russian base, like space-based nuclear, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I immediately saw a headline, like, is this a joke? TLDR, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I didn't read the article because I didn't have time, so I don't know why it doesn't matter to us, but someone thinks it doesn't matter.
Well, here's the problem.
Casey's got the info.
The problem is that, you know, the intelligence, and I use that term very loosely when we refer to the CIA, but they're like, oh, there's a very dangerous Russian space program with nukes involved. But they couldn't tell us what it was. Like, nobody has the real answer. They don't know if it's a nuclear-based space weapon that shoots nukes at the Earth,
Or it's running off
or
of nuclear
if
fusion.
it's a nuclear weapon that's designed to take out other satellites.
So that's what I read.
Yeah, which, why would you do that? Rocks are way more effective. Just take a bunch of rocks up in the shuttle and then just throw them at satellites.
Use
I
CO2.
have a bigger question. After they forgot to, bring gas and food to their first invasion of Ukraine, are we even sure it's going to work?
Well, and
Yeah,
that
that's
was
the other part.
That was the thing, right? The Russian space program, we take rides with, but it doesn't have the greatest track record.
No.
Are you really going to tell me that someone is going to authorize them to put nuclear material in a flimsy space vessel and pray that it gets to orbit?
I mean,
That's
I'm not gonna tell you that, but someone is
terrifying.
Well, I mean, if you're launching nuclear products up into the sky, wouldn't our system go crazy?
Well, see, again,
Yeah, that's
isn't
the other part.
isn't that why we made Star Wars?
What is Star Wars?
Star Wars
Explain
is
to me. I mean,
the-
not the movie, but
Star Wars is a movie about a Jedi.
yeah.
It's the satellite defense system that we built back in like the 70s or the Reagan administration.
Well, that we tried to build during Reagan.
Yeah.
But we can now actually, well, I don't know if we can. I'm assuming we can because the British have publicly tested a laser that can take out intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Right. I mean, we're pretty close to having that as well, right?
Yeah, to my
Well,
knowledge, we
I'm
had it.
assuming we already have it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean they were joking about it in the West Wing.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm pretty sure we have it now.
Yeah, we've had it for a while.
The third option, though, for this whole Russian thing is the one that I was kind of hopeful for, and that was that they were sending a nuclear-powered satellite up to test how effective nuclear power is in space.
Interesting.
And to me, that, the scientist guy in me is like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. Like, what does a nuclear reactor do in space? Like, how do you cool it? How do you protect it from the elements?
Do you need to cool it? Well, I mean,
Right.
I know you need to cool it, but
Well, you do it when it's in direct contact with the sun at whatever 200 and something degrees Celsius unprotected sun hits at. But I mean,
the other side's just fine.
the other side would be perfect. Negative 265 degrees Celsius, perfect.
yeah.
Just good
so
temperature.
So you just stay in that orbit.
So, but
that
I'm
dark
curious
orbit.
because if you go with a satellite,
Right.
that means that you're thinking about building something bigger. Mm-hmm. And a nuclear-based space exploration vehicle makes me go, "Ooh, are we gonna back to the space race again? Are we doing a nuclear space race? I'm all for this."
Great nuclear space race.
I mean, we could do the race, but I don't think Russia's showing up. I mean, they may get to the starting block, but I think that's probably about as far as they get.
Most of the uranium comes from their area, right?
Well, a lot of it does, but a lot of
Yeah.
it also comes from Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like we don't have not a surplus, the opposite of surplus.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
just
there's-
saying it's,
Deficit.
We talk about all these things being mined all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And there's a ton of mineral resources in all over Africa, all over Russia. But there's this truth that we always forget that if you can mine it, we also probably mine it here
Yeah.
or can
Right.
or did.
or we're just waiting until we run out everybody else's supply.
Or
Yeah,
we've
right.
already purchased it from a country and we have stockpiles of it. Like we're just hoarding it because we can.
Anyway, yeah, I saw that. I wasn't sure what to say about that. But the other one, the bill, already dead.
Yeah, no,
Johnson
I
said he's
figured-
not considering it.
I figured it was dead in the water already.
So if we look at it and it's dead in the water, I still have some questions about it. The questions that I have essentially are, what kind of aid? What kind of aid are we?
That's the thing about this, right?
Right.
Is they came up and they're like, $95 billion.
Right.
And you're like, what is foreign aid essentially?
Right.
I looked into this. Foreign aid is like one of three categories. It's either some kind of like humanitarian. So if you think Red Cross, medicine, food, those things,
Right.
that technically counts as foreign aid. The other one is economic stability. So we basically act as the bank, and we cover government-funded projects. So we build schools and roadways and hospitals. We do that sort of thing.
But that's post-war.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the foreign aid that they're sending now is probably
Th-
military.
This is military.
Right?
This is tanks and planes and bullets.
which okay, I get.
Yes.
95 billion though.
that seems
That seems a little
Ah,
excessive.
okay,
there's
let-
more to that bill than just that.
Yeah, I mean, it's that covers I think what they're planning for is post-war and current. So we're gonna send X amount of military dollars, right? So we're gonna send bullets and tanks and F-16s and whatever bulletproof vests that you need. I mean, a Tomahawk missile costs $37 million,
Right. No, I mean,
for one.
so, but here's the thing: Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan.
Yeah.
Those are the targets for the aid.
Correct.
Those are the other ones, yes.
And our former president suggested it being a loan rather than just carte blanche. Send U.S. tax dollars to the foreign countries.
Right.
I can see that. That makes sense to do that. Hey guys, when you're ready, or not when you're ready, but when it's time, you got to start making payments on this. We may end up forgiving it, right?
Probably.
I mean, more than likely, we're going to forgive it.
Let's be fair. That money is just going to go away.
Right. I mean, to a degree.
We're not getting the bullets back.
There's no refund on bullets.
Some of those tanks we might get back on eBay after they're done and used and parted out.
Well, we're sending our crappier early tanks.
Yeah, it's not. We don't send Abrams though. We send the one before, right?
We do send the Abrams.
Do we send the first gen Abrams?
We got all the Abrams stuff out of it, and then we send it, and then we put like older sights and equipment on the inside in there.
Yeah, because it's the first gen Abrams basically.
Well, yeah, because every chassis is pretty much the same. They just
Add
redo
stuff.
a couple of things, pull
Yeah.
some things off.
Yeah.
Yeah, upgrade
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So we're sending that. We'll probably get those back, ish,
Maybe.
But the other
'Cause-
question that I ask,
Yeah.
why are we fronting the bill?
You know what? I've always wondered why we fund a lot of bills, but it's because we're supposed to be the top dog. We're the biggest one. We should be able to help everyone. Is what the sound of it is.
I get that, but
Where the other countries in their foreign aid.
yeah. What's the point of NATO?
Right.
If they're not going to do
Well,
anything.
I don't think that we are exclusive in foreign aid. I do believe there's foreign aid. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's foreign aid coming from Australia, which I don't understand.
It's possible, but they don't even.
But I mean, they depend on the UK, and Britain. So I'm looking at. There's definitely probably got to be other factors in regards to who's doing the foreign aid and what they're sending.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we
no.
could take 30 billion and send it that direction, 10 billion per country, and have 65 billion to apply it to the border.
I think that's the argument.
Well, that's the thing.
Is the argument is where does it go? Which actually, I'm curious what Lane, because Lane is smarter than we are for this particular category, I believe.
Yeah.
This really is a question. I wanted to ask Lane all these questions, so this is why I picked it.
Well, there's something else. Like, it's not foreign aid just for them. It's like we send them stuff, so they're basically using the money to buy stuff from our people who are already having the stuff manufactured.
Well, I think that's
Yeah.
They're trying to
What?
pad their
I think
pockets,
that's
right?
partially true.
I don't know what you just said.
I don't think that. I think we are sending goods like food.
I think we
are
send
sending-
everything.
But that's what the 95 billion is, not just cash. That's the other things that are included in it, I believe. Now, when we say that we're going to send food and medical, supplies and stuff of that nature, we're sending goods rather than actual dollars. I mean, we actually may send some actual dollars, but
I think we're sending a lot of actual dollars.
Yeah.
versus goods.
I mean, I'm sure there's some goods in there, but I think we're sending a lot of money
So it is
because what
cash.
they need is cash.
Cash.
This is Cuba in the 90s. What he needs is cash. Yeah.
Well said.
Is this because this cash is used for other things?
Yeah, and so they can rip it off.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a bit crass, but
That's disappointing.
but I mean, also it's $95 billion. As far as our budget's concerned, it's nothing.
Well,
Yeah,
but it's
that's-
principle.
that's fair.
It's, I mean,
Is it principle or is it political?
both. I think it's political and principle. And I don't
What's-
think
what's the-
think they're exclusive.
What's the principle behind it?
The principle is
Well,
that
let's step back a little bit. What's our goal in Ukraine?
that
To
is
make sure that
is a
Russia
good.
doesn't take
Well,
it?
yeah, to make sure the Russians don't
Right?
Gain more territory.
gain more, not only gain more territory, but keep the strait open, keep the strait of, I don't know which body of water that's running past Ukraine.
I don't think that's the deal. I think what we're trying to do is deplete Russian resources. Specifically, I think we're trying to deplete Russian men.
Well, yeah, that's
Oh.
to me that's a side note.
Okay.
But,
I don't
okay,
think that's a side note.
You think that's the
Russia-
goal?
that's the proxy war that's going
Russia
on?
has some of the worst demographics in the world, behind China and Germany and a handful of others. They don't have anyone left to fight in 10 years. And if Ukraine is picking a war, like if fighting
Yeah.
a war successfully with them, and they're fighting aid soldiers, I mean, it's again a bit crass, but are dying off. We're accelerating the process, at which point Russia can become whatever Russia's going to be. Because Europe does need some of Russia's resources, right?
Right.
Wheat, oil, natural gas, bunch of other stuff. And as long as Russia is what it is, Europe's access to those things is limited and conditional.
Sure.
I think at this point we're comfortable that Russia is not going to make it to a UN country or a NATO country.
Okay.
Like, we don't have to worry about going to war for some country that we have a treaty with because Russia's going to get there. Russia
Okay.
looks disastrous in a fight.
Yeah.
And I think behind closed doors, they don't want Ukraine to win. They want Ukraine to keep it going.
Behind our closed doors.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
This is my thought. But also, we give foreign aid because we're the richest country in the world by a factor of God knows how many.
It just seems like a lot.
Because we can, is the answer. And we
Because
should.
we have the resources to be able to do it. So my idea was, okay, we're doing the foreign aid here, and if we don't do a loan, why can't we? It may be because Ukraine or
We don't do a loan because they'll never pay it back.
well, I get that, okay, but can they send goods back to us like Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan? Sending goods instead of just getting the foreign aid carte blanche because we can.
No, and we wouldn't want goods from them anyway. They don't produce goods. They produce wheat. It's the breadbasket of Europe.
Oh,
What we
okay.
want them to do when they're done fighting is to go back and harvesting wheat and selling it to the rest of Europe.
Oh, so
Okay.
we don't have to?
Yeah, well, so Europe doesn't starve.
Oh, okay.
Like, we want Europe to run smoothly, even though we're withdrawing from the rest of the world, from the global economy. Like, we are pulling back and have been for 3 presidents, right? Like, we are trying to do less in the world.
Right.
Oh,
But we
okay.
can't do less. We can't not fight these fights over foreign aid if when we do less, these countries start to fall apart.
So we're keeping most of these countries that we provide aid for together.
And afloat.
I wouldn't say that. I would say, well, for a long time we did. Like, when you're talking about the global economic market, we did. Like, we paid for global security. That was the deal. Like, that was the deal going back to the 60s, right? So when the Cold War started, globalization was us paying off the world to be on our side. Like, we provided global security so that you didn't need all 3 parts of global industry to be involved. You could have manufacturer, you could have raw resources, or you could have value add. You didn't need all 3, or you could have food, right? You didn't need everything. You just needed a part that you could trade with the rest of the world, which is how Ukraine became Ukraine, right? Because they have wheat and not much else. So they can trade food with the rest of the world and get other stuff back.
Right.
But that was us. We did that. We have since pulled back our global security fleet. Doesn't exist anymore. It was 800 or 900 destroyers, and now it's 83 or something, right?
No.
Yeah. We focused our Navy on taking over countries. We build supercarriers now, not destroyers. Supercarriers, great for taking over countries, not great for policing the global seas.
See.
Ah.
But we don't want them to fall apart because if they fall apart, they're going to come calling again. And everyone who's creating budgets in the federal government knows this.
Okay.
So here's a question that, and maybe it's for me, it's concept. We're talking about a foreign aid bill that needs to be passed. And it needs to be passed because there are conflicts going on in each of these countries, I assume. But don't we do foreign aid outside of war motivations?
Yes. Even without it, listen, this isn't political because there's a war. This is political because it's an election year.
Got it.
Yeah, because I
Because
looked it
there's
up.
foreign aid's going on,
Yeah,
regardless of whether there's a war or not, right?
Yeah, and this isn't like where no foreign aid existed before. This is an increase to foreign aid that we were already giving.
Got it.
Because I looked up the listing for foreign aid from, I think the statistics from 2002 or 2022.
2020.
2022.
Is it 22?
Yeah, 22.
Okay.
And it was like the top one was Afghanistan, and then after that it was like the Sudan, Ethiopia, South Sudan. It was a lot of African countries where we're providing clearly lots of medical aid.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
At least I'm pretty sure it's mostly medical aid for those countries.
Yeah, it's medical aid and food goods.
Yeah, food goods.
So in another article, and that's why I thought you were going to go at is 2020. From 2020, that Germany, Japan, Turkey, and one other country were the 4 top contributors under us in regards to percentage of their GDP.
Oh, okay.
So I know that's kind of long-winded, but it was interesting to see that those countries were the ones that were actually stepping up to the plate and taking a swing and saying, yeah, we're going to do what we said we were going to do. You know, I mean, I understand Germany and Japan, but the one that really surprised me was like Turkey. But hey, you know, good on them.
Yeah, I understand that we need to do it to certain places, especially like Kevin's brother was saying. You know, we can't be isolationists at this point, unfortunately.
Well, we can be. We actually are the one country in the world that can be.
Well, except
100%.
except for Taiwan,
What do you mean?
right? We can't.
Well, we can
can't
figure that
pull
out. There'd be a delay, but we can figure that out.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Just let Japan do it or something, or?
Or the technology, you mean?
I mean, we could do it. Listen,
Component?
Intel is about to launch their latest semiconductor tech. Like, we're going to be just fine. It'll take time, but we'd be just fine.
Oh, so
okay.
the resource that Taiwan provides is cheap labor and technology, hard drive.
No, I
drives.
wouldn't even call it cheap. It's semiconductors.
Okay.
Taiwan provides semiconductors.
Okay.
They
but
do chips.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
chips.
started doing it here before they were doing it, and we ended up going over there for it. Not
Yeah.
because of expertise, but wasn't it because of labor?
No, it's actually not even that. We
resources.
mostly got behind. It wasn't even that. We mostly got behind because Intel made a bad decision.
Well, there's that too.
Intel decided to continue to invest in an existing technology rather than invest in a newer technology, and I forget what it's called. It's it'll come to me later. It's a production system, right? And Taiwan's major producer invested in that tech. Turns out it works really well. That became the cheaper way to produce smaller, more effective chips.
Got it.
Intel fell behind. Intel has realized their mistake, is now investing in the next tech, which seems to be very reliable. So at some point, we will be able to do en masse the things that we haven't been able to do for the last 10 or 15 years.
Fair enough. That sounds good. I like that. Sold.
AMD for life.
Oh,
But
you
honestly,
bought a Dell.
some of this just comes down to business decisions. Oh my God, they gave me a Dell for my work computer. It takes like 2.5 minutes to turn on. This is the one thing I'm not happy with.
That's awesome, dude. You're getting a Dell.
It's awful.
Well, I mean,
They're mainly work computers around here, so it makes sense.
Anyway, that's my take. I mean, I don't know. Listen, we should be sending. We're the richest country in the history of the world.
okay.
We should be helping out other people because that's what you do.
Well, I think we are doing that, but they needed this special bill, to escalate the amount of foreign aid that we're sending?
Well, yes and no. They needed this special bill to start a fight between each other so they could raise money for their election.
Ah, yes.
Oh, so
Like,
this
I'm
is
far
just
more
campaign.
jaded than some of you guys about what they're doing.
This is just a campaign thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's why wedge issues never go away because they're good for raising money and no one wants to solve them because then you have to find a whole new fundraising wedge issue. Like, why reinvent the wheel when you have a perfectly good wheel right there?
You just keep bringing it up every time you need funds.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that guy's all about foreign aid. We should vote for him.
I don't know if I get a kick or irritated out of Biden making the statement, you got to choose democracy or your fearless leader of the Republican Party. And it's like, and he didn't use those words exactly, but it was like, what do you get? I go, what a stupid comment to make. You know, it's like, it's not about division. But,
Well,
yet,
it's also- it's-
but yet it is, because it's political and it's a political year.
Well, for them, it's entirely about division.
Right.
I mean, I don't have any use for you guys. I don't have any use for either of them. But at this point, I think it's really just one ideology, like one improper ideology versus another improper ideology. Like we've stopped running the country. We're running for office.
Right.
Like, and the rest of us are just victims of that.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense now.
So I've been thinking about, I mean, I understand that your comment of you don't have any use for either of them. And I get that. I understand it. I probably even subscribe to it, right? But the question is what do we do for a solution? You know, how do we fix this as the American public?
Oh, this is easy.
Okay.
Yeah, this is easy. Political bingo. All right. If you're able-bodied, bingo tournament.
I mean, if we're practically speaking, what do I think is what this stage is? Like, this is the stage where we plan for 4 years from now, and we deal with the suffering, regardless of who gets elected.
Oh, it's going to, yeah.
Like, it's time for us to plan for the future and put up with the present, because we've dug ourselves a hole. It's deep, and we're gonna have to work to get out of it.
Man, it's a strong opening campaign speech you got going on. Did you do the hand reaching out thing?
No,
I
you did not.
Remember to reach towards the camera like you're reaching out to shake America's hand.
I mean, listen, I don't think it's the politicians' fault that we've elected these buffoons. I think it's our fault.
No, it
We
is.
let it happen.
No, we actually cast the vote for the buffoon.
Yeah.
Well, the people that showed up and voted.
We're like,
Yeah.
let's
Right.
take the guy that can win. And they're like, but the guy that can win is kind of a douchebag. And they're like, yeah, but he can win. So let's do that.
Which-
Like, we've given up on the process, and we're just going straight to what we think like gets us most of what we want.
Yeah, I mean,
Not what we need.
No, and I think that's true on both sides.
No, that's very fair.
it's sad, but
I would agree.
We got to do something about it. I mean, and when I say we, I would like to get a collective we, but I just don't know how to get a collective we.
Slowly
Yeah.
Yeah.
and with small compromise.
Because it's going to have to take a minimum. I mean, I would suspect to get a collective, to use the Borg word,
Collective.
Collective.
Ooh,
Listen,
Collective.
to get that, it's going to take more than 4 years to establish it. So that's why you suffer the present, and you kind of like walk into where are we going to be in 4 years, essentially. Is that
But the problem is you can't look to 4 years, right? You need the small wins now. Casey, you remember that episode? You remember when the West Wing did the whole Israel-Palestine thing?
yes.
And they're having problems, and they're internally fighting, and they can't figure out what to do.
Yes.
And he's like, look, all we need are a couple of small wins. Right now, we're not fighting for the big win. We're fighting for the small wins.
Yes.
Like, that's how we get momentum to turn this thing around. And I'm not talking about one party or the other. I'm talking about the way this country works together.
Oh.
Like, we need a couple of small wins. We need some compromise. We need some people to talk to each other, that don't like each other. And we need to do some stuff.
To
And then
motivate
we
the
need to
big
build
wins.
on that, and then build on that, and then build on that, right? This is a slow process.
I got you.
It's tedious. It's going to be drudgery. We have to do it. If we don't do it, we're just going to keep fighting.
Okay. So just do something small and then work on that.
and keep the small
Yes.
steps.
Put more
Step at a
simply,
time.
fight the battles you can win, even if they're small. Like,
okay.
especially if they're small.
yeah, we got to bring people back to the center where they talk to each other, and no one in the federal government generally right now is going to do that, right? And largely, and that's not true. I think there are people in the federal government in office who would do that, but they're not the people we put on TV because they're not interesting and they don't get ratings. And I think media is just as guilty of this as the politicians are, right? Because they put on the people who say the stupid shit because people pay attention on TV and the
that's how you
commercials
get-
sell for more money.
Yeah, and that's how you get ratings.
The sound bite.
Yeah, this is
era.
why. Listen, and I'm a First Amendment guy, but I don't think the news should be for profit.
No.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I think news shouldn't be for profit, and I think somehow we need to figure out, even though I think it was probably rightly decided under the First Amendment, how to deal with the obnoxious consequences of Citizens United.
Oh,
Like, we have to figure out how to deal with that.
well, can't we just get rid of it?
I don't think so. I read it. I wanted to get rid of it, and I read it, and I think it's soundly decided. And it's soundly decided not because money is speech, but because there's a gray area where money represents a collective of people that wouldn't otherwise have a voice, and it becomes their speech.
Okay.
Right? So what do you do with that? Like, you don't want to silence things like unions or teachers associations or like small groups of people that put their money together so they can have a voice. Like, it's improper to silence those people. Do I have any problem silencing corporations? Not at all. They say stupid shit anyway, and they're greedy.
Yeah.
But you can't do, but like, if one speaks, so does the other. So we have to figure out how to deal with the consequences.
Oh, yes. The newsroom was fantastic. Yes. I agree. If that was a real news broadcast, I would watch it every day.
Probably, yeah.
I would hire Jeff Daniels to be the guy talking. I bet he's not doing anything right now.
Oh, did you guys watch did you see Jon Stewart back on The Daily Show on Mondays?
I saw he's back on there. He has accepted that role.
His opening monologue on Monday was pretty good.
What was
About
the-
about the two candidates for president.
What was the
I
monologue?
missed the monologue.
I mean, he just goes on a rant about their age, but it's funny because he's like, when the two guys running for office are breaking the age record that they set 4 years ago, we might have a problem.
Fair
And I don't care about I don't care about age necessarily. I don't think we should, I don't know what test you can institute. If they're voted in, they're voted in. I don't know how far Trump has to slip before we notice because of his general speaking ability anyway. But Biden is clearly slipping.
Yes.
I
Pretty
mean,
regularly, yeah.
when he did the press conference after that report came out that said we can't charge him criminally because he didn't know any better because he's too old. And then he comes out and he makes a bunch of mental gaffes and looks like an angry old man. Like, that's not helping you. What are you doing?
Why are you on TV?
Yeah.
Isn't there a press secretary you can have do these things?
Listen, when you're angry and you just want to get something off your chest, you call a press conference, apparently.
Or take your time, take a deep breath, sleep on it, come out tomorrow and talk, right? Have someone who's not you put out a statement and then come out the next day or the day after and say something about it. But here's the problem, because they're all putting their spin on this thing, right? But the problem is, if you read the report, and I haven't read all of it, but if you read the parts that matter, if he's not too old, like if he knew what he was doing, he definitely committed some crimes with some classified material. So he either knew and he's a criminal, or he didn't know and he's too old. Like, those are the options. This is what the Republicans are failing to spin. If he's not too old, if he says he's not too old, charge him because he did it. Yes.
Right? He knows what he did.
Right? I mean, listen, I charge Trump too because Trump definitely did it.
Yeah.
Or charge neither of them because all of the presidents and vice presidents have probably also done it.
And some senators and congressmen.
Yeah, especially since we basically just started classifying everything, like the whole world.
Right.
If it passed through Washington at some point, it's classified. My car might be classified. I don't even know it.
Oh, it's definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've seen the things that Subaru makes other than cars. Let me tell you what, some of the stuff they make is probably classified. For sure.
Right? What should be classified and banned forever is that garbage-ass eyesight system. God, that's terrible. All right.
I thought you loved that.
I'm tired of talking about politics. What else are we talking about?
Kevin?
Oh, yeah, Kevin, you had a question.
Well, suspensions at school. I saw that. I don't know what to do about it, but
Yeah, I don't know what to do about it either.
you don't-
So it's the same thing. Porn on the laptop again.
Again?
Again.
did one of your kids get suspended? Is this what happened?
Yeah, so he got in-school suspension first,
Okay.
and then had his laptop, the Chromebook taken away for a while
Wait,
because
hold
they
on.
were proxies.
What is in-school suspension? Is that like perma detention?
Yeah, what is that?
Okay.
It's like the whole day they're in a classroom, separated from everyone else, doing all their classwork.
Yeah, so it's perma
Oh,
detention.
that's
Yeah.
on-site detention.
Oh,
It's
that's
on-site
terrible.
detention. And then,
yeah.
like a couple weeks later, he does it again once he gets the laptop back, and it's in the middle of the night. Every time it's in the middle of the night. So now, just to get away from that, he breaks down. So he has to take a sweater off when he gets home. Everything gets checked on his sweater, thrown. He has to basically take his shoes off, pull his pants up, click the shoes together. He has to go around in a circle, checking his belt loop, waving his shirt, making sure nothing falls out.
You checking him for knives? What do you?
Hey, if he's gonna do the wrong thing, I'm gonna treat him like he's one of the kids at camp.
Your house is more secure than most airports I've been to. What,
I know, right?
That's it. You know,
But that's the thing. To get him to stop doing the wrong thing, I have to overcorrect at
No,
this
that's-
point.
that's
So I'm
fair.
trying not to do the whooping. I'm trying not to beat his ass, as one would say.
Right.
And
As-
it's one of those things. I don't want to have to do that, and I'm trying to get away from it because my donor was that way. But I got hit for everything, so.
so it's interesting because obviously detention and or suspension isn't working.
no,
No.
it's
No.
not very
and
effective.
if it was working, we wouldn't be having this conversation, obviously, right? So the question I was thinking of is where's the value? Where's the value add for them to no longer be doing the things that gets them suspension? And where's the reward for them not doing it? They don't.
Well,
The student, like myself, when I was going through it, didn't understand that there was a value add if I didn't do it, or if there was a risk.
Well, back when you were going to school, you could still get your ass whooped by the principal.
No.
No?
no, that stopped before then.
It was still
Well,
going
actually,
on in
It
Arizona.
stopped before that in
Yes.
California.
Yeah, in California it stopped.
Yeah.
It stopped, and I can honestly say it stopped in 1966. And the reason why I say that is because I was sent to the principal's office quite a few times during my first grade attendance, and would get either the ruler or, you know, think about exposing your knuckles and then the edge of the ruler on the knuckles. Not
Yeah.
the flat part, but the edge of it.
Wait.
Ours was
Anyway,
yardsticks.
so that stopped in 66. And
So, tangentially related to physical abuse, specifically for guys, not for girls, right? And listen, I didn't have that problem. I had a fighting problem with my brother,
Yes.
which was
And we know why.
incessant. Yeah. There were listen. There were outside sources at work. To be clear, not all my fault, but it was a thing. And what saved me was physical activity, and I got lucky. My mom sent me to the gym with an ex strength coach from the NFL.
Yes.
And I mean, he wasn't beating me, but he was whooping my ass in a different way. But the physical exertion helped me a ton. Like it balanced me out in ways that I never would have imagined beforehand.
Well, that's why we haven't pulled him out of wrestling, because it has improved his attitude from what the teachers say. He's had a better attitude. He's actually listening, paying attention, not having the mouth on him like that I have, essentially. So he's not being me.
So to what degree are the teachers and the coaches, to what degree are they being proactive about relating to the kids so they're more inclined to not be docile, but to be to have good behavior?
But the thing is, all the teachers nowadays are kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place because they have to start teaching different things, and they're forced to teach different things. And
But that's not a bad thing.
discipline-wise, you're suspending a kid from school. What kid wants to go to school anyways? In middle school, usually.
Right.
Or in elementary, every kid likes to go to school because they see their friends and all that. But like in-school suspension is another one. You're not surrounded by anybody. You're in a classroom by yourself, which I think is a good one. For being stuck at home, he basically was made to clean the whole day. His room got clean. The bathroom got clean.
Right.
So I've just been making him clean. And this week, they don't have school, so they're going to be out there hopefully working on the front yard.
There you go.
So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to do it differently.
No,
But
I-
at the
I
same
get
time,
that.
like, there's groups that should be done that don't get done at schools. Like the boys' council that I trained for, it's a good group. It talks to boys on what it's like to grow up in this day and age, and how things are a lot different than we used to be. Because we used to have, we didn't get in trouble for getting our ass. Oh, our parents didn't get in trouble for getting their ass whooping our ass, right?
Right.
It wasn't until it became overly done and turned more into abuse or side of abuse that happened. Now
Well-
parents are afraid to spank their kids most of the time because they think they're going to get in trouble.
But there's another side of that. It's not true for all boys, but like there was no amount of pain that my parents could have caused that would have kept me from doing things.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and I'm old enough. Like, I got the belt. Didn't matter.
Same here. I mean,
Right?
I got smarter on how to avoid it.
Right.
You know, so
I think we all get smart enough to a point to avoid
Right.
all that stuff. But I mean, it's one of those things. Trying to get him to do the right thing is almost impossible sometimes when you don't have both parents on the same page.
That's yeah. I
And
mean,
it's taken a while to get her there, but
Right.
we're on the same page now.
Right, right.
yeah. I mean, really, the question I think boils down to is it just a sort of a lack of discipline? And,
Yeah, I
and like, I mean, you have to teach fundamentals, and I don't know if schools are doing that anymore, right?
Well, I mean, so there are fundamentals, and they are trying to impart the knowledge of the fundamentals. But let's talk about what the real world actually. I mean, none of the
yeah.
stuff that I was, well, so most of the stuff that I was taught was in my early years. It was in my elementary. It was in my middle school. It was in my high school stuff when I went. And that's the point that I'm trying to get to is I was not motivated to get educated, you know. So I was one of those students that got suspended. I was one, and that was fine with me. It was no consequence.
Yeah, but
It
we
was
got
like I was-
suspended for certain things, fighting, not getting good grades. Now that we have technology and all that, it kind of causes more issues.
Not necessarily, because if you have a child that's going to get in trouble, the child's going to get in trouble, regardless of whether there's technology or not. That's just a tool. The real crux of the situation is where do you address the needs of the children, and you know you can't, that's where I believe the teachers are in between a rock and a hard spot. You know, where to what level and to what degree can they actually go, hey, this is life. I understand you don't like it. If you get punched in the face, it's not going to be good, right? Yeah. Well, think about that and what there's just so many different proactive areas that can address stuff of that nature. And I don't think it's just the parents. I think it's a community as a whole.
Well, yeah, but it takes a village, right? No, they say it takes a village to raise children,
Yes and no.
right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, to a degree, absolutely. So we don't have a larger community. I think the larger community is disenfranchised from each other in regards to what, and it's kind of like politics. What are we going to do about it? Oh, we should do this. No, we should do that. And it's
Right.
like, and we never come to, when I say we, the community never comes to a collective decision.
Yeah.
And if they do, 90 seconds later, it's not an acceptable situation.
Right. Someone somewhere
Yeah.
is going to be like, you can't do that. And the rest of us are going to have to be like, what do you mean? Why? Why can't we do that?
Well, and that's because the corporal punishment idea of corporal punishment became, oh no, this is child abuse.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? There is somewhat of a fine line.
Well, yeah.
At what
'cause
point does that line, appear?
I think a belt across the butt should be fine, but like when you move on to like a 2x4 or 2x6 or cables or a pipe, that's where it becomes abuse in my mind. That's where you're stepping over that line. Because
No.
I've had the belt, I've had a 2x4, I've had the pipe, the 2x6, all that.
Did your 2x4 have holes in it?
Yeah, for aerodynamics, it drilled right through.
That makes sense.
And
yeah.
that was done by my donor. My mom's over there going like, not me. I only used the belt once.
I mean,
Or twice.
And here I am commenting on you guys as parents, or not you guys, but
I'm the only
Yeah,
parent
Kevin's the
here.
only
yeah,
parent.
you're the only parent in the group.
I'm just picking brains because,
But-
wisdom and
But I mean, our audience has had children at some point. you know.
maybe.
There is evidence here that that's the situation.
I mean, boys are in general are tough, right? Like I know from my experience,
Sure.
I didn't get my act together till I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah, and well, my mom's thing is when a mom has boys, she's already gotten her wings just by having them, because it's
I
going to be
believe
a
that.
hard,
it's-
rough thing to
it's-
go through.
Boys are tough. They're
Yes.
not fun. Girls are their own thing, but we're chaos until we turn like 18.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we have enough common sense built up by the time we're 18 that we can kind of get our shit together.
Or if you're my younger brother, it takes a little while longer.
Well, there you go. That's fair.
So, I mean, to get back to the situation, I mean, the solution is, I believe, because I mean, I'm not really talking out of my ass on this because my parents were teachers.
Yeah.
So basically, based upon that experience and me growing up, it has to be proactive, and it definitely addresses. There are kids that, you know what, it's undiagnosed mental shit. You know, there's
Hands down.
Yeah,
There
so, I
really
mean-
is a fundamental
and there's
mentality to
and
it.
emotional development stuff too. I mean, so it's not just one or the other. It's you know, how do you identify that? The teachers aren't qualified or aren't. Yeah, they aren't qualified to identify that.
Yeah, because what you're
But
gonna be a
they
teacher
do-
and
but
you
they
need a
can.
psychology degree on the top.
Exactly.
Like, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
Which I mean, there should be. I mean, is there a school counselor?
There is, to my knowledge.
What
like
does the
even
school counselor say?
Well,
I don't know. I haven't talked to him, and I don't even know if the counselor talks to him.
Oh,
well, and here's
The boys' council thing, like I said, it's one of those things that are supposed to help you identify the issues that are going on in the world, try to address them in a different way, and see if it fits.
so really,
sticks.
what you need is we just need to reevaluate military academies to send your kids to.
I feel like
is that what we're back to?
That sounds like it.
I think
yeah.
a military academy is the answer, man.
It should be
We'll find a good couple of primo military academies. We just send your kids to that.
right.
So here's the thing about counselors. There's one counselor, I believe, probably for a group of 300.
So they should have a counselor for each grade.
Okay.
I don't know if they do or not, but that's what it should be.
And how many students in each grade?
I have no idea. I'd have to go and count. And I don't count.
It's probably like 200 to 300 kids a grade,
Yeah.
probably down there at least. Ours was a little smaller than that, but in ours we had 3 counselors in our high school. It was 3 counselors for like the whole 1,200 kids. They basically just split them up between 3 counselors.
Yeah, I mean, counselors. They can't even begin to address that many individuals. I mean, if you think about the counselors or the therapist, which is the counselor's a low-grade therapist.
Essentially.
In theory.
So, and they don't see more than probably 25 patients.
I'd say any given day, it's roughly. Schools are different, so they do it based off of when people are getting in trouble, and then they set up the kids that most need it, and it's like maybe they get through 3 or 4 kids a day. At camp, for me, there's set schedules, so they go through about 5 to 6 kids a day. But it's like a set schedule. Every couple days, this certain kid goes at this certain time to work on his things that they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
And then, like the school counselors, like I said, if that kid's getting in trouble, they'll probably pull him once,
Yeah.
maybe once a month if
Yeah.
they can get to him.
Lane, are you back?
Almost.
Okay. Because I have a question for Lane. That's
You got
why.
a question for Lane?
Yes, I have a question for Lane.
He's back.
Because I wonder this, Lane. Do you think schools would benefit from having like a guy like your dad to be there?
Well, of course.
In what way?
Like, because I mean, he dealt with juveniles, right?
He did.
And he had like an understanding of juveniles that would get into trouble, correct?
Yeah. I don't think it's bigger than that.
Oh,
I
okay.
think there is a fundamental flaw in schooling today.
Absolutely.
And
I
that
must agree.
we've geared education. Listen, I'm not trying to be sexist. It's just girls sit in chairs better, right? Especially when they're young. We've geared education towards a particular model, and that model is largely feminine. I think guys need to do things to learn. I learn better when I'm using my hands anyway.
Absolutely.
I think they've taken the physical components. Like there's a value. I don't know that everyone needs to take wood shop or metal shop, but there is a value to projects, and we've given up on. Now projects are writing projects, and we've given up on those things largely because we don't know how to institute them. But I think the educational model should be different for guys and girls.
Oh.
Like I needed physical outlets. Like
Right.
I had to have it. To this day, if I go a week without going to the gym, I start to go stir crazy. I can't sit in a chair and read. I mean, I can if I've gone and worn myself out.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't. sit and
I
read
see
at
what you're
all.
saying. You just it's like a more physical based education, like doing things, expending that energy, and working towards goals. Mm-hmm. As opposed to just sitting in a classroom, listening to someone talk and go on for an hour, and then you have to do whatever.
And I think because of it, I mean, and I could be entirely, like, I don't have a PhD in learning, obviously. But I think that if we instituted some sort of practical learning, like you're actually doing the thing that you're learning, so there's some physical outlet, I think guys would learn a lot better, or boys would learn a lot better.
But I don't think. I mean, I think it's also disinterested. They're disinterested in what they're learning.
Yeah.
But
Well,
here's
they're
the-
bored
but-
because they're sitting in a chair.
But here's the thing, it's not really. So their social aptitude is what's really being disciplined by suspension. It's not, and that's they're trying to treat a social issue. Is that right?
I don't think it's a social issue.
Well, if I don't interact with others well, okay, and what's the cause of that? That's because I feel put upon, or I feel, it's feelings primarily back in high school that motivated me to do the things that I did, and one of those things that I decided not to do was educate. Was absorb or learn.
Or is it just the education that you were presented with, right? Is it that you didn't want to learn anything, or that you were being asked to be something that you're not, to learn in a system that doesn't make sense for you, physically, emotionally, mentally, and then because you couldn't do it, because you weren't something that you were not, you were punished for it?
That's a deep
I'll
question.
have to ruminate.
That's a deep question you just
But
threw
no,
out
no,
there.
but he's got a point. I mean, I see that aspect, right? For me, learning was the problem that I had is my parents would come home from teaching all day, right?
Right.
And it's like, well, where am I? Who am I? What am I? I mean, wait a minute. It's like, I didn't get that process of what are the other kids experiencing when their parents are at work all day, or are both parents at work all day? Was it a single earner family? And what were they experiencing? I gravitated towards those families to be friends with the families. There were like 4 or 5 kids in their unit, in their family unit. So for me, it was like I was grasping for
Attention.
identity, understanding,
Purpose.
purpose. And the thing is that school, and that's not necessarily what school's supposed to be doing, but isn't it? Isn't it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be for being socialized, and essentially back when it was the school system that we've created now, or that we're in now, was created for like factory work, to get them to sit still and actually do work.
Well,
it was
it's
for
not-
that discipline to sit there.
So that stuff that we're teaching is, most of it's not practical.
No.
The other part is it's not inspiring.
Yeah, it is.
I was
Yeah, I
not
mean-
inspired beyond what was going on at home to do something of the learning condition.
I don't know. Outside of socialization in like your friends group, I don't know that I want school to be the thing that socializes kids, right? Like that's a path to a national ideology that makes me really uncomfortable. I don't want school to be all things to all kids. I want schools to teach, and I want them to teach in different ways to different students. And then I think we need to revalue a lot of things that happen outside of school. I think the same is also true for work. I think we need to revalue some things that happen outside of these services that are offered by the government or by our employer, because they can't be all things to all people. Like,
No.
it's just impossible.
Right. And I
Like,
get that.
I think 2 things. I think, 1, we ask too much of schools, and I think 2, we've leveraged schools in one direction so severely that especially the boys on the outliers of like the learning style curve are done a serious disservice.
Really, what you need is for students at a early age to take a test to figure out what kind of learning that they thrive in.
Well, I think for
Yes.
guys, it's easy. Like, I learned better when I was exhausted.
Right.
Physical activity, yeah.
Yeah, the gym in the morning was the best thing that ever happened to me. And school got better. And it still wasn't, listen, I was still a C student in high school, not because I couldn't get better grades, because I just didn't care.
You were disinterested. You weren't inspired.
But then when I was challenged, I mean, I turned that around and graduated with A's, enough to, junior college. And junior college, it was like a 3.8, and then Cal Poly, and then law school, top 20. But it's because I cared. Like, I found a reason to be interested, a purpose that served me.
Right.
And we don't do that for elementary, middle school, high school age kids, especially boys, I think.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think I felt the most challenged and purposeful in high school when I joined ROTC.
See, and I was thinking about starting that workout group when they wake up in the morning, the kids. Again, because I think that helped a lot. Because, like you
dude.
said, physical activity, getting exhausted somewhat physically, can help you concentrate mentally.
I tell you what, 5 a.m. workouts during the winter for football were brutal, but they helped me so much. Like, through the entire day.
Do you think that exercise was management of hormones?
Probably partially.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe
I mean, and I think that's part of what's going on for the kids nowadays. Well, not just kids nowadays, but when I was growing up, my hormones were raging.
Hey, guys, we're getting past an hour. We should probably light up our review
Oh,
cigars.
yes, the review
yes.
cigar.
So I was thinking maybe with Dante.
Or we can wait, take a little break between this and the recordings, and smoke and hang out with your parents.
We could do that.
That's
yeah.
lovely.
So I was thinking, do you think working out in the morning for him would probably help more?
I mean, I would start with workouts just generally. My first workouts were in the afternoon after school.
Yeah, his
the mornings
wrestling's
came
that.
later.
His wrestling's that, and his attitude has improved. Like I said, the teachers say that.
I
so-
don't know that wrestling is enough.
Which is what I'm wondering. So maybe I do
Like
start adding in workouts.
practice wasn't enough for me. I needed to go train.
Right. So like weightlifting and all that.
Yeah, or running or something, like some sort of like spiking physical exertion that requires recovery after the fact.
Well, but it also taught you discipline, right? You have to be somewhat disciplined to maintain getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and committing to a workout, even if you're not in the mood for it.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, discipline was provided for you in football. Winter practices, if
this
you
is
didn't
true.
show up, you didn't play.
I mean, that's fair.
So I mean, one of the things, anything, you got to try it, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to go full bore into what Lane experienced. That it had to be training. It may just be, hey, you got to get up and do some calisthenics, and before you go to school, that may basically get their creative juices or get them kind of like motivated into, okay, now it's time to go to school. And that's, you could equate that to, it's time to go to work, and your job is to be a student. Your job is to learn. I mean,
I'm gonna step on you, Will.
okay.
Hey, snowboard Jesus, how you doing?
Oh, shit.
Oh, snowboard Jesus.
He chimed in.
Hey.
Nice.
He's awesome. I'm glad that you chimed in.
No, man, you're awesome. Yeah.
Hey, Snowboard Juice, it's good to hear from you, man.
Anyway, no, I'm a huge proponent of that. It helped me out a lot.
Well, see,
Yeah.
there you go,
And it
Kevin.
kept my brother alive.
You know
That
what?
is true.
Just wake your kids up at 6 o'clock in the morning
Well, I get off at 8.
and bring them to Uncle Lane, and he can just run them ragged in the gym.
Right. Uncle Lane's gonna do it.
Get them swole and he'll just drill instructor them real hard.
Mo's just
On a
crying
lighter
up over here. She's just like,
On a lighter note, I saw that you put in the water discovered on that asteroid because I saw that
Yeah,
too.
that was kind of interesting.
I mean, we kind of knew that it was out there, right? That's,
it
that's
has
how
to
they
be.
assume it got here to begin with.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
I was surprised at that. I mean, I don't know how the atmosphere was created at the beginning of time.
It's a very long episode we would
was
talk
it-
about if we
and
had to
I
get
mean,
there.
Actually, was it really the beginning of time, or was it somewhere along the timeline?
I think ours is somewhere along the timeline for us.
Remind me to play you the first episode of the Cosmos to explain that one for you.
But I mean,
Carl Sagan taught it very well. He does. I don't do it justice.
I mean, I'm more interested in mining asteroids.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
interesting.
As to how that we are not at that point yet, I am really surprised.
Because we delved into other things, social side of networking and all that, instead of like using computers for what we should have done.
Fuck that. This is corporate America, all right?
Yeah.
There's money to be made out there. We should be building shit hard.
As we should be, but
Said by a
everybody's.
very capitalist countryman.
But remember, we talked about this. It wasn't even on the podcast. We did a little bit on the podcast, but it's that motivation, getting people to be motivated towards something.
No,
and you
it's-
said the
yeah.
last one was COVID, where we got a
Yes.
vaccine within
Oh,
6
the last-
months
Yeah,
because
The-
everybody
the-
focused. It was
the last
a
great
challenge.
scientific challenge was COVID, because we stopped being what we are, which is greedy and bitching, and everyone just said, I don't want this COVID shit anymore. And
well-
pharmaceutical companies said, okay, bet, we got this.
Well, they were still pretty greedy.
So
I mean,
wait a
they
minute.
were.
So bitching and what?
Bitching and moaning.
Bitching, moaning, and
Yeah.
whining?
Yeah.
No, that went on. That
No,
continued
I
to
know,
go
but
on.
but we
It's still going
we
on.
still did something really incredible in 6 months. When that challenge is laid down there and the government writes you a blank check, we can do anything. Like, it's not hard.
No,
Unlimited funds. Okay, let's do it.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, getting a challenge is
Yeah,
for sure.
the challenge is the hard part.
Finding the challenge to be motivated for, even.
I mean, well, no, I mean, the challenge that needs to reemerge essentially is the space race. You know, maybe we create
Well-
a race that nobody else can really get out of the starting
I think
blocks.
it's the next space race, though.
Yeah.
Like, what's
Yeah,
next?
The next
Yeah.
space race.
Like, the chase for what's next is what we've lost.
USS Enterprise, that's what we're going for. That should be our next one, having a spaceship like
Yeah,
that.
and phaser pistols.
Yeah,
phaser
and
pistols.
lightsabers.
And lightsaber. I've wanted a lightsaber since I was, I don't know.
Warp
8?
drive would be cool.
Technically, our phaser pistols are just tasers
no
right now.
false. False.
Go down.
You knock that shit off.
Hey, it's supposed to knock somebody out, and there's a kill shot on that one. You can do the same thing
No,
with
no.
No,
with
there's
the
a
taser.
vaporizing shot.
Yeah,
Tasers
yeah.
don't do that
where's,
shit.
Where's my
Fair.
vaporizing
Well,
taser?
I mean, if you spray them with liquid-based, not liquid,
Oh,
oil-based.
now you're just getting gross.
yeah, that's wrong.
That's just evil.
What's wrong
Hey,
with you?
it's technically the same thing.
No,
one,
it's not.
One just phases you out quicker.
One.
Yes. One doesn't involve goo.
No. Yeah, that's
Ah.
gross. One just
Listen.
quick, clean, done.
America's all about goo. If you look back,
This is like the Nickelodeon of phaser pistols.
Yeah. Oh, you got slime today.
I mean, we came up with Agent
Ah.
Orange and Napalm. I mean, we're all about the goo.
We're still cleaning up Agent Orange. What, get
yes,
outta
we
here with
are.
that.
All right. What
All right.
time? What's our time?
Yeah, what are we at?
We are at 112.
1:12. All right.
I think that's
Right here.
Well,
Don't end up on Jerry's a Bear Mountain. Learn how to drive in the mountains in the winter. That's all I got.
That is all you
that's
got.
all you
And
got?
I missed putting you on the camera for half of it.
Brutal.
Because I saw you go like this.
Just-
Look, and I saw Mo over there. I'm like, is he talking to her? And she thought the
No.
same thing. She's like,
Boo
oh.
this man.
boo this man.
Boo.
You,
Hey, listen, I'm a little off. My rash is breaking out again. It's a pain in the ass.
I
Well,
imagine.
actually, it's in the
Yeah.
head more, but
itchy scalp over there.
Gee, scalp. Terrible. All right, on that note, this was another Daily Torch podcast. If you made it this far, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next video.